Hello everybody. Today I have a guest with me. I am in the same desert garden from last time, and I am with my friend Gertrud Konings. She is a biologist. We're going to be answering some of your questions today. First question is, how many cacti are in the garden?
There's different types of cacti. Species are about 100, I would say, but different plants, probably 1,000.
Oh
But
boy.
that's just a guess. I cannot finger
Can cacti survive a long time and survive in the desert with little water?
That's the specialty of cacti, yeah. So they can grow in the desert. In the desert, as you all know, there's little rain, so they have to survive without water for a long time. But cacti, they actually soak up the water like a sponge, yeah, and they grow bigger when it rains, and then they live off that water. Inside they have a kind of slimy material, mucilage we call that, and that holds the water, it binds the water. It's when you have nopalitos, they are slimy, and that is actually the feature that they need to store the water.
How long did it take to finish the garden?
Yeah, that took a long time, but we really didn't set out to do the yard in one go. We just did here a little bit and there a little bit. We had all grass in our yard, in the backyard and in the front yard. So we just removed one part, the grass, and then we started to plant cacti there and also agaves, and then from there we moved on. So it is an ongoing project, really. We also sometimes, plants die and you have to replace them, and it's always, sometimes we want to add some others, so we have to rearrange them. So it's an ongoing project.
Is ocotillo a cactus?
So this is an ocotillo, and these are cacti. Yeah? When you look down here, see the cacti, ocotillo and cacti. Well, ocotillo is a shrub. It's not a cactus. And how do we know? Yeah? You see the leaves on this ocotillo? Ocotillo, they have actual leaves. Cacti usually don't have leaves. The spines are the leaves of the cactus. Yeah, also there you see different spines, long ones, short ones. So they are modified leaves. And these are not spines actually. Yeah? These are thorns. Thorns are a modification of the bark, so that is not a modified leaf. They grow completely different from a cactus. So this is a shrub, and this also is the stem and the leaves. And you see, a cactus usually consists mainly of the stem. The leaves are the spines, and they are modified.
How do you grow so much cacti?
Well, you need, of course, the space for growing them, but we actually like the different shapes, the different types of cacti. It is very interesting to compare them, to see how they live. You see also you have some, they grow like a candle, you have some, they are really round, yeah, or kind of cylindrical, yeah, like this one. And they have different colors, the flowers flower at different times of the year. That's very important, because you don't want to have the flowers all at the same time. You want to spread them out. Also, some cacti like more shade, others want full sun, and they are all a little bit different. So you grow them and you learn from them, see what they need.
How much care do cacti need?
How much care? Yeah. You see, actually, the cactus doesn't need much care at all. Yeah. Once you have planted them and they are in a spot that they like, that they don't suffer. You see that when they would suffer, you would have to place them somewhere else. But then you just leave them. And you see, when you look around here, actually, the work that I get is more from the tree than from the cactus. Because the tree loses the leaves, it has flowers, and pollen fall down. And you see, so when we clean the yard, it's mainly from the trees and the shrubs that we have to clean up. But the cactus itself doesn't make work. So it's very easy to deal with them. The only problem is you have to take care where you step, yeah, so that you don't get hurt by the spikes. Yeah?
What is it like to have so much cacti around?
Yeah, so many cacti. We actually moved here from Germany, and in Germany we don't have cacti except in pots. They don't grow there. So we came to the desert, and my husband and I, we love hiking through the desert, and we saw all the different cacti, how they flower, and we just really got interested in them and loved them. Took many photos, and then we started joining the Paso Cactus and Rock Club, and there were people all that are interested in them, and we learned a lot about them. We exchanged plants. Everybody has some plants that they grow too fast, or they want to exchange them for something else. So we did a lot of kind of exchanges at the club, and that's how we got all this variety. Of course, also we do some buying of cacti. There are special nurseries, not so much in El Paso, but in Arizona you have big nurseries for cacti. So we bought a lot there.
One rock cactus.
Are all cacti edible?
Not all, but most are edible. Yeah. And I'm sure you know the nopales, yeah, and nopalitos. This is, of course, from the cactus. So they are even grown in plantages. No? In Mexico, they plant them, especially for food production. So the farmers like them. But also the other cacti, you can often have nopales from them. Mm-hmm. Is it working? Yeah? Oh, sorry.
No.
Shall we start again?
No, you can continue. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. So those are specially grown for feeding people, for food actually. But when you go through the desert, sometimes you find also nopales and you can eat them. But most of them are actually pretty dry. You don't want to eat them. You could grind them maybe, but that is something that people nowadays really don't do anymore. But it's also, some are toxic, so I would not suggest to just eat them. Of course, you have inside the cactus, they store a lot of water, as we said, and the water is actually also sweet and makes the flesh inside sweet. So our big barrel that we have here in the desert, that is the one like there, yeah. So the big one, they were harvested also to make candy of them. And actually we saw in Mexico on the markets you can still buy those candies, yeah. But here they don't do it anymore. We also don't have so many big cacti anymore.
How many different kinds of cacti are there?
Yeah, how many cacti? It's really a different a number that I don't know exactly. It also changes depending on when they find new cacti. They also research them, because cacti can grow in environments that are not desert. We talked about the desert cacti because they are grown here, but cacti can grow even in the snow. There is a cactus that grows in Colorado in the mountains, yeah, and you have even in Canada a cactus growing, so it can tolerate a lot of rain and cold, yeah. And then of course you have cacti that grow on trees, or cacti that disappear completely in the ground when it is very dry, or the mud covers them completely so you don't find them at all times. So you see there's a lot going on that still new cacti are found, yeah. And therefore it's difficult to say, but it's a very big variety of cacti.
If cacti are able to grow with little water and in light and darkness, does it mean sustainable food in space is possible? Also, if there is radiation in space, how could cacti grow?
Very interesting question, because when I was teaching at EBCC, I actually had the students doing some experiments, and I was actually with NASA, but student experiments, and we had a conference on that also once in Washington at the Space Museum. The experiments that we did had to do with studies to tolerate darkness, which is, for example, on a different planet or on the moon. That was the question then. You can have 14 days night in some areas. So many plants cannot handle that. They need sunlight to do their photosynthesis to grow. So cacti can do that. And I want to tell a little story to that. We visited a friend in Paris who had a little cactus collection on his balcony. And you know, Paris, the winter is very long and he didn't have much place to store. He had an apartment. So he put his cacti in the garage and completely in the dark for the whole winter. And then he took them out, he watered them, and they started blooming. So that gave us the hint, yeah, they can really survive that. Yeah? And so these experiments we did to find out can plants survive that. But if you would grow them in space, even on the moon or on other planet, there is of course radiation, and radiation would kill any life. So you still have to grow them in a greenhouse, but of course you must also then consider how long can they have light, how long will it be dark, and of course there is hardly any water, so you have to have plants that can tolerate water shortages. And we thought that cacti were perfectly suited for that, which they are actually. So this is one of the cacti that I used with the students in the experiment for the space project. And it is actually an opuntia. Opuntias, you know from the video still, these are not leaves. No, what you see, they are actually stem segments. No? So this is made up all of stem, yeah. So segmented stems, and then the flowers, and you see what will be the fruits later on. So this cactus we used in our experiments, and it really tolerated also the privation of even carbon dioxide, which the plants need to make, of course, sugar, which is their nutrient. So, and then we had another one, the Opuntia cacanapa, which you have in your yard now, yeah? So you will add that picture to it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I want to take the time to thank Gertrud Konings for answering our questions, making this video possible, and welcoming us into her desert plant garden. You can find more information about local plants of the Southwest in their Facebook group at El Paso Cactus and Rock Club, also on their website, elpasodesert.com. Thank you, everybody. I hope that you have a great week. Goodbye. Until next time.